Why Blizzard games fail. Not because they aren't monetarily successful, but because consumers dislike the direction of the games in one way or another. Why does it seem like Blizzard's developers struggle to truly understand how players think? What defines a video game failure? Is it the number of units sold? No, because many games sell super well at launch and fall off very quickly. Take New World for example. New World came out, sold massively well and had a decently positive response, but the developers fumbled the bag so hard that to this day the game is on life support and most people consider it a failure. What about Cyberpunk? Is it a failure or a success? I mean, it sold super well and inspired millions of people. It was also released in an unplayable state on Xbox and PS4. Stories of mismanagement and abuse in the workplace were rampant, misinformation regarding press release testing, and simply put, they lied. Even though the game is in a great spot now, and people regard it as a good game now, was it a failure? I think so. You see, video games are the land of first impressions, and first impressions are everything, and we use examples like No Man's Sky, a game that promised us everything but gave us a fraction of that and a plethora of buggy experiences to define what is wrong in gaming as a whole. It's an advertisement and art showcase. Which company can lie to you the best and get you to spend your money to impress shareholders? It's a game of mirrors and smokescreens, and we, the customers, have nearly no tools to combat the lies we are fed. We have to take these companies at face value over time. These companies allot us currency, and that currency is in the form of trust. So when a new World of Warcraft expansion drops, or Overwatch 2, we spend that trust and receive more trust back than we spend, hopefully, for good experiences and good time. Was it worth my time? Did I get my money's worth? Was I a valued customer? These questions, whether you realize it or not, are fundamental in how you perceive an interaction. If you feel like you're being taken advantage of, well, you are less likely to support Overwatch 3, or World of Warcraft's 30th expansion. Sometimes companies accumulate a metric ton of this trust currency. They do really well for several years with several title releases, and in the end they end up taking advantage of the player base that they have, the groups of people that fostered their growth. That's okay, we can take a loss. Look at how much they trust us. They'll get over it. Many people would have you believe that devs don't have an ego. They're on your side, right? And at the end of the day, the choices they being made in the company aren't by them, it's by the CEO or the leadership, right? They have no influences on that portion of the company. But as social media has expanded and more devs feel safe and share their own opinions, it clearly is not the case. Game devs have a lot of pride in their work, and to the point that sometimes it blinds them to what's better for the player base. Take Elden Ring for example, universally successful with a great art style, soundtrack, and game design. The number of people that complain about Elden Ring are few, but those few include a large portion of game developers who believe that Elden Ring's approach is worse than theirs. They see a successful game veer from the status quo and their reaction is to get offended. Now, obviously, this is just one example in a plethora sea of people complaining, but it's valid. The point I'm trying to make is that devs are not all sweet, kind, and perfect like some people like to paint them. Some devs cannot see past their own hubris and indirectly affects the customer's experience in a negative way. Diablo 4 and Blizzard as a whole suffer from this quite a bit. First off, Diablo 4 was without a doubt made with consoles first in mind. Basic options such as keyboard searches for inventory management, increased FOV, and more keybinds for skills, these things that you would consider pretty much a standard expected deliverable from Blizzard Entertainment, one of the biggest gaming companies in the world, are absent at launch, and from what I can tell aren't coming anytime soon. The game is plagued with inconveniences, from rampantly spiking respec costs that majorly affects you early on but does basically nothing in the late game to make you think, well, why does this even exist? The active choice to not include an easy way to swap gear/talents at the press of a button, giving you the freedom to check different loadouts. The absolute abysmal way the Diablo 4 team has approached tuning. This company used to be fun forward. Overwatch 1 was released in a state that was broken to some degree, but was so fun that people from all walks of life and every skill level could find some fun to experience. Nowadays, it's clear that Blizzard has forgotten those fun-first roots that made the games they made phenomenal experiences. In a game where your biggest competition is yourself, void of leaderboards and comparisons, Who the fuck actually cares if you could cast a barbarian shout 2 seconds faster if you got the right piece of gear? Why tune this game like it's Lost Ark when it's clearly an ARPG with nearly no MMO mechanics present? Why are there uber uniques in the game? Items that we are supposed to get excited for but have as much of a chance of dropping as you winning the lottery? Why in general are uniques so bad that getting one feels more like a disappointment than a reward for time spent? And more to the point, why the fuck haven't these problems players have had been fixed or addressed properly? Why are they still in the game? Why hasn't the sole focus over the last month been addressing and fixing these problems that people feel make the game bad? Instead, they decide to nerf people's characters and make the game feel literally worse and more like a monotonous chore than a fun experience. The answer is simple. It's the same problem World of Warcraft had for the last 10 or so years. It's the same problem Overwatch 2 has. Devs and those directing them have absolutely no clue how to please an audience in the short term to service a long-term relationship. They don't understand the fundamentals of first impressions and how making tuning choices like these at such a critical point in time negatively affects the brand and people's willingness to sit through the bullshit of a 3-month period in order to see the changes that they want to see implemented at some point later on in the life cycle of the game. The truth is, Blizzard doesn't understand their player base anymore. Whether that's World of Warcraft, Overwatch, or Diablo, they are simply out of touch and prideful, to the detriment of their reputation. Maybe their new survival title will make up for their overall attitude towards players, but I doubt it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Hope you guys are having a great day. It's nice to be back. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.